Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. As promised, it's that time for the update 1.48 community wishlist video. Massive thank you to everyone that left an opinion or something they wanted to see for this video, and if your point didn't make it, I do apologize. There were just that many comments, and I did try to pick the ones that sort of were different from some others. Again, there was a lot of repeating opinions about the roulette wheel and such like that. Again, these were kind of things that I'd already mentioned in my own personal wish list, so I didn't want to go ahead and repeat that. And obviously, as mentioned, when it comes to, you know, specific tracks and specific cars, I definitely think that's something for a completely different video, so I didn't go ahead and put them in. It was mainly for content and obviously fixes and things like that. So let's get into it with point number one. This is by Big Sarge, and he's going to go on to say level 50 access to all vehicles. So what he means by this is the fact that once you hit collector level 50, you should have access to every vehicle in the game whenever you want to. And in a sense, I do fully agree. For the likes of the used car dealership, for me, it's always been that way in Gran Turismo and should continue on a rotation. That is the whole idea of the used dealership. But in terms of the legendary dealership, the car rotation itself was just a terrible idea from the start. And to be honest, there is really no proper reward for hitting level 50 apart from extreme tuning parts and Bible engine swaps. So why not just add something a little bit extra there and just remove that whole sort of RNG based junk that's really implemented in this game on day one. Again, for me, there is nothing worse than saving up for that car that you really want. You just get the credits for it and then it disappears again for 2 to 3 months. So fully agree with this one. Access to especially the Legends dealership at level 50 would definitely carry on that sort of rewarding feeling for rewarding the players for actually putting time into this game. So here's another one that I do fully agree with, and it's one that popped up by multiple people, so I'm not just going to quote one single comment, and that is the ability to sell engines and parts. Now, we all know that the I guess post-launch, the extreme tuning parts came in and we were able to obviously buy engines and obviously extreme tuning parts. However, if you get these from the roulette RNG and it's already in a car that you've maybe fully customized and such, there is nothing you're able to do other than actually just go ahead and I believe discard that part. Being able to earn back those credits that are associated with the ticket that you receive will definitely be a major plus point and a nice little side earner, a little bit like the used car dealership when that sort of rolled around in November of 2022. Again, it seems like a very obvious and minor change, but definitely one that really does need to happen. So usually if I get a specific comment, I'll only limit it to one per person. However, Big Sarge does come back with another one that I do find very interesting, and that is a super license. There's not really much use for it, and then the fact that they went ahead and added another 50 tests on top of that for the master licenses, their use in the current form of GT7 is very, very limited overall. At least in terms of the older titles, you actually felt like you had to go and earn them to be able to take part in some of those higher events and such. In terms of GT7, they're almost completely meaningless and completely useless at the current present time. So again, really more uses for the super license would absolutely just make it a necessity and force players to really improve their driving, performing both the original super license and then all of the 50 plus master licenses after. So we have Mansell84 who comes up with this point: bots in online. This is one that I've seen very infrequently over my time of making these videos, and it's one that I do absolutely love the thought of. Again, in terms of the community lobbies, they produce some of the best and most enjoyable racing with some of the most diverse cars in the entirety of GT7. However, the amount of times I'll go to the community list and see like multiple to 10s, 20, you know, worth of lobbies with one single player in, the fact is that guy's just kind of running around on their own with a very specific theme to the lobby. It would be absolutely awesome to go ahead and add the likes of online bots just to bulk up the grid and then replace them with players. A lot of online racing games do these, and I feel like it will make a massive difference to just making the overall quality of these lobbies much better. And again, it would just make the community section even better on top of how good it already is. Again, for me, some of the best racing I've ever had has been taking place in those, you know, custom made online lobbies, very specific, you know, car lists and such like that. I just think it's fantastic, and the fact that we could then go ahead and add bots to it just to bulk it up if we've only got a handful of players will be absolutely awesome. This next point is by user Hot Rod, who goes on to say drag racing. Basically what he means, the fact is, drag racing is very limited in GT7. You either A, need to be doing the missions, in which there's only a couple of these events, and they're actually quite a lot of fun. And obviously the next way to access drag racing is to go into, again, the custom online lobbies and hope that people will obviously drag race with you. I definitely feel like this is a feature that needs more attention in Gran Turismo. Whilst it's not specifically my cup of tea, I do think it's a bit of a useless feature, you know, where they've kind of got this mode implemented in parts of the missions and then they've not really gone any further with it ever since. Again, it just feels like Polyphony just need to take advantage of more of these different race styles. Again, bulking up the different types of content and different types of motorsport inside of Gran Turismo 7. So next up, this one is from Vlad, who goes on to mention HUD changes. In terms of GT7, it's very specific in terms of what you can have on the HUD in specific cameras, and I think that is a massive shame. One thing that I've never understood is the fact that there isn't the option to pop a mirror when in the likes of bonnet cam or other camera angles. The only one you actually get the sort of on-screen mirror is on the bumper cam. Anything else, you are completely out of luck. Again, this kind of harks back to the likes of, you know, PSVR as well, with that limited HUD visibility and such. I definitely think we need to be able to adjust the HUD accordingly and make it fully customizable so we can have it the way we want. Again, there's a lot of information on the screen at once, and I feel like a lot of it is also lacking at the same time. It's very hit and miss depending on what camera angle you're in. So I fully agree that HUD differences and HUD customization is an absolute must. Maybe the speedometer, maybe the likes of the mirrors and things like that should all be customizable. Okay, so the next comment that is up is by Johnny, who goes on to mention dynamic weather and endurance races at every single track in game. Now, in terms of GT7's weather system, it is probably one of the better ones I've seen in any racing game. Okay, maybe it's not the most over the top and dramatic, but in terms of the system that is in place, the whole drying line and such, it is fantastic for a console racer. However, my main issue comes that it's very limited at, you know, specific tracks. There is even some tracks in game that you'd expect to have weather that still don't after all this time. And obviously in terms of the endurance race as well, that's an obvious one. There really should be an endurance race taking place at every single track in game to make the most use out of every single track that's in the game. So fully agree with this point. So the next comment up is by Test Dude, who goes on to mention the likes of in-game notifications in terms of oil, engine wear and all that kind of stuff. And I do fully agree, this is something that is rather quite frustrating and very overlooked. A lot of cars over time, when they start getting used, will obviously have their oil dropping in terms of the engine and, you know, the body rigidity that'll start dropping. And again, just the fact is, you can swap to another car and completely overlook the fact that that one needs an oil change just to go ahead and use it in an important race, and the oil is still completely worn off and all that kind of stuff. So I do fully agree that in race, it should let you know once you start getting that wear on whether the engine, oil or body and such. And that's going to bring me on to the final point of the video, B-Spec. Again, multiple people mentioned this one, and I do fully agree. B-Spec was a fantastic time. My best memories with B-Spec comes from Gran Turismo 5, I believe back in like the summer of 2011. Again, I'd done the majority of the standard part of the game, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to start doing B-Spec. And I actually found myself having plenty of fun with it. Again, whilst I did sort of do it in some of the previous iterations, I feel like GT5 for me was the absolute peak of B-Spec mode, and then it's kind of just faded into non-existence when it comes to Gran Turismo, and it certainly feels like if this is a proper numbered title, this needs to be brought back. I absolutely loved B-Spec, I really want to see its return, and I feel like a lot of the community really does want to see this mode actually, you know, make its grand return after many years away. Anyway, that's going to be it for all of the main points for this video. A big thank you to everyone that submitted their comments. Again, if I was doing all of them, I'd be there all day. Things like specific tracks and specific cars I'm not going to mention. Again, I do think that's something for a completely different video. Again, we probably all have like a wish list of 100 to 200 plus cars each, so it's not really worth my time doing very specific cars and models and such. But yeah, big thank you to everyone that submitted an entry for this video. Again, you'll have your chance next month after, you know, probably the next update or whenever that may be. Big thank you for watching. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Take care, guys. Peace.